Hello, I am Ellie, and today I am talking about the shadow. And I love the shadow, no script. I'm just going to be speaking from the heart on this topic. So, I am working with the shadow currently, and I'm going to explain exactly what shadow part is coming up for me, how I'm working through it. And the shadow parts of ourselves, people can get really nervous just by this term, but all the shadow means is something that we are unaware of. They are parts of ourselves that we have rejected, suppressed, because maybe even as a young child, we learned that these parts of ourselves were not going to be accepted. We weren't going to belong if we held on to these parts of ourselves. We were not going to be loved if we held on to these parts of ourselves. Somewhere along the line, there were parts of us that we deemed rejectable. And so that's all that this is. It's just things that we are unaware of in the shadow, hiding like a spider. The spider represents the shadow. And what we can do is to become aware of the shadow, not to get rid of these parts. That's the other thing sometimes that causes confusion. We don't want to get rid of any parts of ourselves. We want to integrate those parts of ourselves, to bring them into the light so that we can start working with them, because this is key. When something remains in the shadow, in our unawareness, in the subconscious, it is controlling us without our awareness. So it runs our life. It controls the way that we move about in the world, our actions, how we relate to others, how we are showing ourselves to others. It limits our authenticity when we have many shadow parts. So the most powerful thing to know about the shadow is once your shadow parts, the rejected parts of yourself, start to feel safe to move forward, they will come forward to reveal themselves. Our spirit wants to be integrated, wants to be whole, wants to be loved. All parts want to be loved. So what I started to do a long time ago was to let all parts of myself know that it was safe for them to come forward, that I was going to accept all parts of myself and to love all parts of myself. So this has been a beautiful journey, and it's such a powerful way to bring so much healing into your life and start to be able to move around in your life the way that you want, moving towards what you want, having more awareness, more control and understanding of what you are doing and why you are doing it. So it's so beautiful. So the shadow is nothing to be afraid of. It is not some dark, evil parts of ourselves. No. And the other thing is hard for people to understand or to accept is that we are human, all of us. So we all share the whole spectrum of emotions, of ways of being, characteristics. We're all capable, really, in the right environment, of the same things. And so really, it's beautiful to just let go of self-judgment and to know that you are human, and that is beautiful. And being human comes with this messy, way of being. Sometimes our emotions get messy, our thoughts can get messy, even our actions can get messy. And so it's so beautiful to come to a place where you are on a path to just love and accept all parts of yourself. So because this is the way I am being, my shadow self is always coming to reveal itself to me when it is time. So for me right now, I have a big shadow that is calling for my attention. It is really a big deal. And so I just want to say that at this point, I am going to touch on some heavier energy, some heavier topics. And so if you feel into your body and you're not ready for some heaviness, maybe another time. Okay. Okay. So the shadow that is coming to be revealed to me now is something that I have had awareness of in the past, but sort of buried, not time to deal with, or I didn't want to deal with it at the time. It's okay, I admit that. But it's calling for my attention now in a very powerful way as I am starting to date in the world. And the shadow that is coming forth is my fear, deep-seated fear of men, of the masculine. So okay, so this was coming, it came through me. So it comes like in the mind, you get a thought, a feeling, comes with both. And for me, I can feel that it's so deep seated because I can feel it alive in every cell of my body, this fear of men. And it makes sense that I have a fear of men, and it makes sense that all women have a fear of men, and I'm going to tell you why. So not only as women do we have a lot of experiences in this lifetime of having abuse or having our boundaries crossed by men, having our heart be crushed, having just disregard for our needs, disregard for our heart, and disregard for our body. In this lifetime, all women have some sort of story, and for some, those the levels are extreme. Okay, so for everyone different, but all women have some story, some experience of this. And not only that, but all women in our DNA, we have the pain of our ancestors past. So it has been proven in many studies with rats and mice and things like that, all kinds of different animals, that there is passed on knowledge that gets passed on through our DNA and our cells. And this is to help us survive in the next life. So for women, there has been a long history of women who have had, how can I say this? This is where it gets heavy, okay? Women, in our cells, we carry the energy, the information of our bodies being brutally violated without regard for our life or our well-being. Okay, so this is very, very strong. And I know men have many wounds too. And sometimes when men hear this, they say, well, what about men? Of course, men. Yes, men have deep pain also in their DNA, in their cells. But I'm talking about women. And in this video, I'm talking about my fear of men. And many women share this. So this is powerful because this is something that is so deep seated. And so how I'm working with the shadow, okay? So first I'm listening to the shadow. I'm letting these parts of myself express themselves. And so I just do this in quiet reflection, in meditation, and I just open my heart and I listen. I allow these parts of themselves to express their pain, their fear, their tiredness. I don't want to experience this anymore. And now to fully integrate, to bring healing to this part of the shadow, now comes action. Okay, so what am I doing? So for me, I'm starting to date and I am letting these parts of myself, these shadow parts that have a deep fear of men. And side note, I also love men. I love men. There's duality here. And if you watched my previous channel, you would know that I am a big supporter of men and I love men. And also at the same time, I fear men. And this makes sense because of my past experiences with men in this lifetime, also in my DNA. So what I'm doing is I'm letting these parts of myself set the pace in any sort of relationship unfolding. I am letting them decide. It is them. So I'm feeling into these parts and I'm letting them decide, set the pace, decide, is this person safe or not safe? So I am honoring these shadow parts of myself by really listening to them and honoring the pain that they have felt, honoring the fear that exists within these parts of myself. And so this is how healing starts, by awareness, compassion, love, listening, and then integrating. And so for this particular shadow is going to be healed by me doing just what I'm doing, by really listening and by really honoring my own boundaries, by coming aware of what my boundaries are. So I have very strong boundaries around physical touch. Sexual energy is sacred to me. I understand the power of sexual energy, and even kissing is very sensual, very sexual. A lot of energy I receive from kissing, so even cuddling. And so I go at a slower pace, and anyone who cannot honor that is not for me, not my problem. So I am really honoring these parts of myself. And the more that I do this, the more that I continue to listen. So I was just dating, I met with him one time and he was beautiful, beautiful man, but there were something not right. And because I'm letting these shadow parts of myself decide, and I went in and listened, they were screaming, no, no. And so I honor that. I just simply let this person know with compassion, with kindness, I'm sorry, this is not for me. You are beautiful, but not for me. I'm going to take a pass. And so I will continue to do this. And by doing this, it's so beautiful. I am bringing so much healing to these parts of myself. And also I'm going to go in and do deep meditations and connecting to spirit guides, looking for guidance, listening always. Is there something else coming in, information guiding me on what I can do? But I believe that through me honoring these shadow parts of myself, by honoring my boundaries, by listening to these parts of myself, and then taking action that is in alignment with what these parts of myself need, there's going to be great healing. And so also choice, and I want to touch on this. So the reason for me, and for many, for all of us really, not all the time, okay, so but in relationships, so we'll stick to relationships. In relationships, when we experience abuse, whether that's abuse to the heart, emotional abuse, abuse to the mind, psychological abuse, or physical abuse, sexual abuse, when we experience these things in relationship and then we stay in the relationship, we are allowing this abuse to happen. And of course, I know I have been in spots before, and so I know deeply that there are times where we don't feel like we have a choice. Maybe we are not financially able to leave. We have children, things like this, all very logical reasons that women do stay. But one of the bigger reasons that women stay is because abuse in one form or another is familiar to you. It is normal to you. And so for me, in all of my adult relationships, I experienced some type of abuse, whether that was emotional, psychological, physical, sexual. And you know what? I was allowing that to happen. And that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, something hard to look at. And the reason that I did that was not because I'm masochistic or anything like that. No, it was because it was so familiar to me that I wasn't even seeing it for what it was. It is crazy. When something is familiar, it is normal, we don't recognize it. And so it was important for me to go on a very long, painful journey to come to recognize when I am in the presence of unlove. And the best, easiest way for you to do that, to recognize when you are in the presence of unlove, is to start loving yourself. Start evoking love every day, all the time, for self and for other. Just tapping into the frequency of love is so beautiful, because the more that you do that, the more you become love. Whatever we do continuously, we start to become. So when we continuously tap into love for self-love, love for others, but we have to include that love for self. We get to a certain point and it's slow, the process, we grow and grow and grow into becoming more and more love. Then when we get to a certain point, it's very, very easy to recognize unlove when we're in the presence of unlove. But I do want to just say a side note that if you have an anxious attachment, this is going to be even more difficult for you, because you have such a desperate need for love externally outside of you. You need it because we need love to thrive. And if you are anxiously attached, you are grasping desperately for love outside of yourself. And so what will happen is we reason, we rationalize, we internalize that it is our fault. And so we just want to keep pushing forward at this chance of love. We are seeing the person in front of us, and oftentimes people who are anxiously attached are very compassionate people, some of the most loving people you will ever meet. And so we can also get lost too far into this compassion and understanding for others' behavior, to where we abandon ourselves and we accept treatment that is unloving, unkind, cruel, and violent even. So it is very important to start tapping into love frequently. You can do this anytime. You can do it while you're doing the dishes. You just evoke love simply with your intention. It is even more powerful for me and my experience to go into meditation with typing high frequency vibrational music. You can even type in the high frequency love music, has no words, and the sound will open your heart. There is so much information and power in sound, and it is activating. So it is powerful to use music, to even gospel music, any music that activates love for you. And you can do this anytime. So time is not an excuse, because we can do it while we are doing anything. So it is beautiful to know how powerful we are. And so working with the shadow, anytime that you are letting these parts of yourself know, the more that you are accepting of all parts of yourself, accepting your humanness, not demanding that you are perfect or that you are above being a human. Many spiritual people do this, and they want to deny their own humanness. But we are human, also spirit, but we cannot reject our human part. I mean, we are here on this earthly plane as humans, and we will experience life as humans. And so that comes with being, making mistakes and just being vulnerable to know that we are not perfect. No one is perfect. I am not perfect. And that is okay. And so the more that you can change this relationship with yourself, the more shadow parts of yourself will come forward, asking to be integrated. So this is so beautiful, and we are just so powerful. So I'm excited to keep working with my shadow on my deep fear of men. The other thing that I know I'm getting guidance in, channeled in, is that being cautious now while I choose men to date or be in relationship with is also going to be healing, because now I have this armor of awareness and really listening more deeply than I ever have to myself, more connected to myself than I ever have been. And I'm really listening. I get these messages in, and then I listen. No, this person is not right. Okay, I go away. No big deal. So, so we can really become powerful the more we let our shadow parts of ourselves come forth to be revealed, and then to be loved and integrated. So like I said, we never want to get rid of the shadow parts. We only want to integrate them with love, to accept them, to come forward so that we can work together. So like, say if you had a shadow less serious than a fear of men, maybe your shadow is that you are procrastinator. It's just so like you don't really have awareness of it, or maybe you have small awareness. And then if this shadow part came forward because it's a time in your life where you need to let go of procrastination, it's holding you back, how to integrate this would be just to lovingly witness this part of yourself, listen to it. Why do I procrastinate? What is the reason? How is this part of me feeling? And then to work with this part of yourself. So when you become aware you're procrastinating, you can have a conversation with yourself. Okay, I understand why you are procrastinating, but we have choices. Like I always talk to these parts of myself. I hear you. I feel you. It matters what you're feeling. And also we have a choice, and I will have a conversation about consequence and actions with myself. So this is not crazy to interact with yourself. People are very misled sometimes, especially when it comes to like self-love, like self-focus. You can never get away from yourself. You're always with yourself. You are the only one who can activate your inner flame, your love light. You are the only one who can create and manifest and bring forth in your life. Of course, you need to focus on you. Of course, you need to love you. This is how you really love others. This is how you serve others. This is how you have deep connection with others. Self matters. Self matters so much. The most important relationship you will ever have is the relationship with yourself. So it is not selfish. It is beautiful. It is right path to focus on self, and also to have love and consideration and compassion for others. It doesn't have to be one or the other. No, both is right path. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about the shadow. Inner child work is also powerful to work with the shadow parts of yourself as children, because a lot of our pain, a lot of our programming, the way that we move about in the world comes from our childhood. So big shadows there. So maybe I'll make a video about that soon. But support me by subscribing if you like this video, and I will love to connect with you soon. Thank you.